LeBeau Products Limited of Perth, Australia, has $35,000 to invest. The company is trying to decide between Projects X and Project Y with the cash flows that appear below. The company's discount rate is 18%. Ignoring income taxes, which alternative would you recommend the company accept? Show your computations and use the net present value approach. We're going to calculate the net present value of projects X and Y both using the table factors and using our financial calculators. Let's begin with Project X. The $35,000 initial cash outflow doesn't need to be discounted. In other words, it will be multiplied simply by 1.0 since the cash flow is happening at time 0. Its present value, again, is simply negative $35,000. The annual cash inflow of $9,000 a year for years 1 through 10 is an annuity cash flow, and the present value interest factor of an annuity at 18% for 10 years from our tables is 4.494, which means the present value of our $9,000 a year for 10 years is $40,446. That's the annual cash flow of $9,000 a year multiplied by the factor of 4.494. Our net present value is simply the present value of the cash inflows minus the initial cost. So $40,446 minus the $35,000 initial cost gives us a net present value of $5,446. This appears to be a good investment since it has a positive net present value. If we were to solve this using our financial calculator, again, the present value of the initial cash outflow of $35,000 since it's happening at time 0 is, again, $35,000. Our annual cash inflows will have a present value of $40,447. There's a slight difference due to rounding. In our financial calculator, we'll enter 10 for the number of periods, 18 for the interest rate. The annual annuity payment is $9,000, and there's 0 for the future value, and we solve for the present value. The net present value using our financial calculator is $5,447. That's the $40,447 present value minus the $35,000 initial cost. For Project Y, the $35,000 cash outflow at time 0 has a present value of negative $35,000. The single cash inflow at year 10 needs to be multiplied by a present value interest factor of 10 years and 18% for a single cash flow or lump sum, and that factor from your table would be 0.191, which means the present value of our $150,000 cash flow is $28,650. We find this by multiplying the $150,000 by our 0.191 factor. The net present value then of Project Y is negative $6,350, and that's because the project cost of $35,000 is greater than the present value of the cash inflows, which are only $28,650. Using our financial calculator, again, the present value of the $35,000 cash outflow at time 0 is $35,000. Our single investment will find the present value by entering 10 for the number of periods, 18% for our interest rate, 0 for the payment, and $150,000 for the future value, and then we will solve for the present value. Again, we have a difference due to rounding. The net present value using our financial calculator then would be negative $6,340. Again, since Project Y has a negative net present value, we would not want to accept Project Y under any conditions. We want to pick Project X since it has the higher and positive net present value.